Madam Chairman,
The gentleman from North Carolina seek recognition.
I rise in opposition to the amendment.
Is recognized for 5 minutes.
Madam Chairman, I rise with great disappointment, and I think sadness is the right word. This is an amendment that I very much hoped would not be offered tonight. I know that many in this chamber hoped it would not be offered tonight. It's a poison pill amendment. That's a term I've not used tonight, and that's a term I don't use lightly. I very much hope this amendment would not be offered, and I hope now that it's been offered that it is not fated to pass. We've worked for months cooperatively on this Homeland Security Appropriations Bill. As I said in announcing bipartisan support for this bill at the beginning of today's debate, I commended the chairman heartily and the staff and members who have worked so hard on this in a bipartisan fashion, trying to come together. We gave a little, we took a little. But we did understand that it was important for this institution and for our nation's security to come together on a Homeland Security bill that most members of this chamber could support. And for that reason, most divisive issues, most extraneous issues that have the capacity to divide us and, in fact, to destroy that bipartisan support, most of those have been conscientiously avoided. And that has included, until this moment, the offering of amendments on this floor. The gentleman describes this as an amendment he offered last year. Yes, it's an amendment he offered last year, and it's an amendment that blew up bipartisan support for this bill last year. And it's an amendment, by the way, with one very toxic addition from last year, twisting the knife, so to speak, adding the DREAM Act children to the bill's provisions. Unbelievable that would be added in this version of the bill. Let me just say that what the King Amendment would prohibit is what every law enforcement agency in this country must do and does with regularity, making the most effective use of limited resources. No law enforcement agency in the land can go after every violation. Each law enforcement agency must prioritize the resources and go after the ones who would do us the most harm. Can we imagine that the Department of Homeland Security would not do that? In fact, we would rightly condemn them if they did not do that. One of the documents that the King Amendment would require Immigration and Customs Enforcement to ignore states, and I'm quoting, aliens who pose a danger to national security or a risk to public safety are priority one for removal. That's what the gentleman wants the agency to ignore. In a world with limited resources, it's dangerous, it's irresponsible, it's totally unrealistic not to prioritize the detention and the deportation of people who pose a threat to public safety and national security. And to do it in a demagogic fashion, saying if you prioritize criminals, if you prioritize dangerous people, then, well, you must be giving amnesty to everyone else. It's absurd. It's absurd. It may have a certain appeal on the talk shows, but it is unworthy of this body. Why would we want ICE to spend as much time and energy going after innocent kids in college who were brought to this country by their parents as it spends after going after known dangerous criminals? Why would we want ICE to focus on the detention and the deportation of the spouses of U.S. citizens serving in our military rather than on people who pose a threat to national security? Colleagues know there is no answer to these questions that doesn't point in the direction of a resounding rejection of this extreme and destructive amendment. And I beg my colleagues to vote no, and I yield back.
The gentleman from North Carolina yields back.